Hello and welcome back to Marketing Tip Tea Time at 222. I'm Aaron Zimala, and today we have one of Colorado's premier headshot photographers in Denver, Colorado. He just happens to share my name, and that is Aaron Lucy from Denver Headshots. Hello, Aaron. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Aaron spelled the same way, the same exact way.
Go
A little background for the audience. We actually met each other at a Denver Chamber of Commerce networking event.
Yeah, that's right.
Back. Yes,
it was a couple of years ago now, I think. Yeah.
It definitely was. And Aaron requested that we have some Earl Grey tea, correct? I think is what we had. Mm-hmm. That's what I have in my cup. I have New Me. I have some New Me here. Aged
I have some
Earl
Twinings.
Grey. Ooh, nice. Yes, that's a good one. And I always pour on the screen above my expensive laptop, so that's always a really nice danger element to the show.
I like it. Living on the edge.
Mm-hmm. Right, and this is actually one of the new Apples with the M1 chip. So.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Fancy.
So hopefully I don't mess it up with some tea.
Yeah.
Great.
We need to start
So
waterproofing those.
Yes, they do. They definitely need to start waterproofing these. That would be a huge bonus. I'm sure they can. I don't know why they don't, actually. So tell me about this tea, Aaron. You specifically suggested Earl Grey.
Yeah.
What is it that you like about Earl Grey? It's actually my favorite tea as well, so I just want to kind of dive in on this tea real quick.
Yeah, sure. I like it because it's kind of subtle, but it has like that slightly fruity flavor with the orange that's in there. And, a little bit of a caffeine kick in there. Always helps get the day started.
Yes, exactly. Oh, yeah, I love Earl Grey. When you said Earl Grey, I was like, oh, that's perfect. We actually have a butt ton up in the office of Earl Grey that we drink regularly, so that's great.
Good. Happy to oblige.
Yes, it's fantastic. And, you were born in New Zealand, which might be, I know that Earl Grey is kind of more of an English, New Zealand type tea that a lot of people grow up with. And so you were born in New Zealand, correct?
That's right.
And you spent some time in LA. Mm-hmm. And then you ultimately ended up in Colorado working with Tommy. And that's kind of a huge journey around the world. You really kind of navigated the globe there. How did you get to Colorado, and what role did the relationships that you built play in getting you here?
Yeah, okay. So I was in Los Angeles for about 15 years before I moved out here.
Wow.
And I was doing photography that whole time. I was doing quite a lot of different stuff, shooting for different magazines, doing some music industry stuff, some headshots, although at that time I wasn't really in love with doing headshots. And I moved out here actually to teach mountain bike skills clinics, which is another thing that I do. And I had a company that was part owner of a company based out of San Diego, and we were expanding throughout the country. So I was able to use that to create an opportunity to move out to Colorado because, I wanted to live here anyway, be closer to the mountains and, kind of closer to what I grew up with. So, yeah. And then once I got out here, I discovered this thing that nobody really told me about called winter that you have out here that puts a real dampener on the whole mountain bike season.
Right.
Yeah. And so I jumped full-time back into photography. And when I was here, I was looking around, trying to find kind of a niche that I could slot into, something I felt like I could do well that would serve people here, that was maybe there was some room for. And that's when I came across the work of Tommy Collier, who founded Denver Headshots, and the work of Peter Hurley, who's a New York-based headshot photographer. And he has a great coaching program that he does online. And so I signed up for that. And I came and met Tommy one day, and we got on really well. So I started working at the studio with him, and it really just took off from there.
Wow. That's a great journey, and how you ended up in Colorado, especially because you were pursuing it seems like one of your ultra passions, which is the mountain biking, and then you were able to pursue kind of both things when you got to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you talk about finding your niche, because I read a few articles that have interviewed you, and you've said that it took you a while to find your way into headshot photography, but the process of refining your offering was super valuable. Can you talk a little bit more about the process of refining that and how important it is for people to find a niche to be able to essentially dive in?
Yeah, yeah. So firstly, the importance for me of finding a niche was that when I was trying to do so many different types of photography, I got a little burned out, because for each different kind of style or type of job that you do, there's a lot of problems you need to figure out, different people you need to be in contact with, maybe finding locations, hiring people, stylists, makeup artists, extras, whatever it is that you're doing. So there's a lot of problem solving going on. And it's easy to get burned out on that. And when you're spread out over a bunch of different types of photography, your pricing's not consistent over all of them. So there's a lot of extra work trying to figure out how to make things work properly. And I found that when I found it, and I started getting a little burned out doing that. When I found one specific niche to do, it allows you to really streamline all your processes and dial in everything from pricing to how you manage your galleries and handle delivering your images to clients, how you find your clients, marketing. Everything becomes simpler. And when you focus all of your energy into doing one style of photography, I think at least for a period, there's a massive amount of growth there, because you're spending so much time focused on one thing. It allows you to really dial it in and perfect it.
Right.
Yeah, so it's been really beneficial for me. It's just a much simpler business to run, and I feel like it's allowed me to get much better at one thing rather than kind of being a jack of all trades and doing a bunch of different things.
Wow. I think that's pretty valuable, because a lot of people who go into art or even entrepreneurship for themselves, they end up scattering themselves. And so you really found that process of niching yourself, and so now you're not scattered anymore. I mean, it's pretty clear what you do.
Yeah.
When I look at your website, when I look at your work, it speaks for itself. I don't have to guess, essentially, and I think that's a really good part.
Another thing that came through that process, the thing that I realized and the thing that changed, is when I was shooting a lot of different projects, a lot of the time I was trying to make images that were pleasing to me. So almost no matter what somebody hired me to do, I was going to, do what they wanted, but also I was trying to make something that I thought was really cool, that expressed, my thoughts and feelings and that kind of thing. Versus what I do now, where I see myself 100% as a service provider. I'm just here to serve my clients, give them exactly what they need, exactly what they come to me for, and create a really consistent, reliable product for them that's beneficial. And I've kind of taken myself out of the equation. Now, that's not to say that I don't love what I do, because I really do enjoy it. But realizing that, it's not about me, it's more about the people that I'm serving, has also really allowed me to dial in what I do, and it's easier to value what you do. When I have a client come to me and ask me to do a job, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what you want, but I'm also kind of doing it for myself. In some ways, I felt like I needed to charge less, because I wasn't 100% confident that they were going to get what they wanted, because I was also trying to serve my own needs or wants there. Whereas now, I feel like I can, now I feel like I know exactly what I'm going to deliver. I know what it's worth, and so I can charge accordingly. So as a business person, as an artist, I think that's a barrier that a lot of artists and photographers struggle with at some point, is charging enough for your work to make it really sustainable. And I think that's often part of the reason why. Yeah.
No, that actually answers a lot of questions, even that we've had at Zova Marketing internal. That's why I love these interviews, is because we get so much good information from our interviewees that can really help us. And with that niche that you dove into, which is headshot photography, what kind of a role does headshot photography play in branding currently? I mean, it's really important, but what have you seen the importance of headshot photography being in branding?
Well, so many times, if you're a person that's offering services online or if somebody's looking to hire you, they're going to find you online before meeting you in person. You want a really good representation of yourself online because people tend to think in pictures. So if I said to you, close your eyes and think of your fridge or think of your car, think of your front door, what's going to happen in your mind is you're going to see an image of it. You're not going to see a spreadsheet with the statistics of your vehicle.
Right.
You're going to see a picture. So the same thing happens if somebody, let's say somebody's looking to hire a person and they get 100 resumes in the mail. They're going to go through and read them all, but at the end of the day, the thing that's going to stick in their mind is most likely an image. That's the thing that your mind is going to attach itself to, as well as whatever's written. Obviously, that's a part of the process, but images are so important. And when it comes to meeting people for the first time and facial expressions, we have these groups of neurons in our mind called mirror neurons, and their purpose is when you meet somebody or see somebody for the first time, they're going to read the facial expression of the person and create similar feelings within yourself. So if you see somebody for the first time and they look angry, it's going to create certain feelings within you. If they look really happy and outgoing, it's going to create a different set of feelings. Now, with us all meeting online or coming across people online for the first time, the facial expression and that image becomes really important because it's actually going to trigger feelings in the viewer. So you want to be aware of that and take control of it. So a really important part in my work is not just showing what people look like, but something of their personality and who they are, and especially particular aspects of it. So kind of the benchmark for headshot photography is you want an expression that portrays confidence and approachability and feels genuine, because fake smiles, fake expressions always feel fake, so they're no good at creating trust with your viewers or your potential clients. So there's a real formula to it. Yeah.
That's really interesting because it's almost like a science and a psychology aspect to getting that headshot that will elicit a reaction. Wow.
Absolutely.
I never thought of it that way. So for all the viewers out there, make sure that your profile picture is not you being grumpy, essentially. I think. And for any of our viewers out there, if you have questions, once again, drop them into Facebook comments or YouTube comments, and hopefully I will see the comment and go ahead and ask Aaron. So with this kind of getting the exact expression that you want out of the subject, there's also, I've actually been at one of your sessions that you had at one of the Chamber of Commerce meetings where you took some headshots, and a lot of the positions that you put the subjects in is seemingly awkward. At least to me, I thought like, okay, I'm doing all this stuff. So how is it that it can feel so awkward, these positions in real life, but on camera it looks beautifully natural?
Right. Well, part of the reason why we're putting people in awkward positions is, firstly, it's the angle of the camera. I set that camera at a lower angle below the chin, so it's looking up at the person, which has a subtle effect to the viewer of the image that the person's almost standing above them. So it adds more power to the image. But because of that, if you're looking up at somebody, then we're looking up under here, and it's not a good look. So what you want to do is bring the face forward and down, stretches out the skin under here, creates a strong jawline, and presents the face more directly to the camera. It feels weird, but so sometimes I have to shoot somebody. I'll say, okay, stand normally, and I'll shoot them like that, and then I have them do this, and I shoot them like that, and show them the difference, and it kind of clicks, and people go, oh, okay, get it. Feels weird, but it looks good.
Wow. So actually, we would call what you just did spilling the secret sauce. So we have this thing on our show where you spill a little bit of your secret sauce. That was super valuable. That probably took years of figuring out.
Well, actually, if anyone wants to know how all that works, do what I did. Sign up for Peter Hurley's online training. It's all part of a formula that so Peter's been probably the world's premier headshot photographer, been doing it since the 80s, I believe. Been in New York shooting actors for a long time. And throughout those decades, he's basically refined it into this formula that just works. And, I think a lot of people sign up for it. I was the same. where I signed up and I was like, okay, your photos are great. I want to learn how to do that, but there's all these rules. What if I want to try doing it differently? So, I would be like, okay, well, I'm not going to set my camera at that angle. I'll try something else. And then I would look at the photos and compare them and be like, it's just not quite as good. Like, he really has spent years and years creating a formula that you can apply to almost any subject, any person, and it's going to work. And I'm a big fan of systems of doing things, finding a way that works, and then just repeating it and incrementally, improving over time. But it's like, if something works, then do it. And again, that comes back to how I see myself now as a photographer, as a person that's here to provide a service, the best possible service and product that I can, and kind of take my own ego or my own wants and desires out of the equation, and just do what works.
Wow. That more secret sauce. This could be the most secret sauce we've ever gotten on a single on a single show. Holy cow. So, there is another aspect to capturing the image of a subject, and that is making them feel comfortable. Because if they don't feel comfortable, then they'll feel awkward. And you're very well known for making your subjects extremely comfortable. In fact, the reviews I read online, all 5 stars, by the way, folks, they are always talking about how they felt very nervous going in, but by the time they walked out, they just wanted to stay because it felt so good, so natural. Tell me a little bit about how you loosen up the subjects and how you really pull that out of them. Yeah.
Again, that's all part of the process and the way that I run my sessions. So if you see behind me here, you see I have my lighting and stuff set up there. The lighting does vary a little bit from subject to subject and from men to women, but basically I know how my lighting setup and camera works so well that I don't have to think about it anymore. So when somebody arrives at the studio, everything's set up, ready to go. I don't have to worry about that, and it all becomes about making a personal connection with the client. And so usually before somebody shows up, I'll spend a few minutes just quiet, maybe almost kind of meditating, so that I'm feeling really calm in myself when people show up, and then I just kind of project that out into the session. And part of what I love about my job is meeting the variety of people that I do. And I know some people might look at shooting the same type of photograph day in, day out and think it could be tedious or boring, but it's not, because every person is different. And people are usually coming here for a reason. They're changing jobs, they're looking for new opportunities, they've won an award. Oftentimes it's almost a crossroads in some way. And and it's almost always a positive thing. So there's always like lots of positive things to talk about, to put in their mind. And then, so honestly, like sometimes if people are coming in for a 30-minute session, we might talk for 10 or 15 minutes, and then all the shooting happens in about 5 or 10 minutes. Once I get them in there in front of the lights, I already know some stuff about them, so I have things to talk about to take their mind off what's going on. And that's kind of a key factor, is people are going to feel awkward standing in front of a camera with lights. So it's taking them out of that, making a joke, saying something silly, having them do something silly that brings out the real personality in the image.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, we call it misdirection almost. Sometimes it's just a matter of saying something stupid and they'll laugh, and then it's like, bang. Okay, there it is. There's a real, genuine expression. Yeah.
That makes sense. Wow. That is a pretty direct, like this, then that, then this, then that kind of process that you use, which is something that I think amazes me. Is a lot of creatives we've interviewed kind of are like, well, you have to tailor this and you have to tailor that and you have to get this going, but it seems like you've really honed in on a process and a workflow that just works, like you said.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So why try and reinvent it? That's my gosh. And then your headshots are not just beautiful, but also compelling. So if you go to denverheadshots.com and you click on Aaron Lucy's portfolio, these images bring something out. It's like you're making a connection with the actual person in the image. Tell me a little bit about how you bring their personality and their story out that they want to tell with that headshot. How do you make that so apparent in a single photo?
Firstly, it's the spending the time talking with them before the session really starts. So knowing what somebody's about, what their motivations are, what they're trying to achieve really helps. So I might go for a different expression for a real estate agent than I would a criminal defense attorney, for example. Some people
Right,
want
that could be different.
yeah. So the balance of confidence and approachability changes. Some people you want everyone to look confident, but some people you want to look really approachable, and some people you
Right.
want to look more serious. So knowing that before we start really helps, and then just tailoring the conversation, the things that I say. I'll often have people close their eyes and visualize certain things that they're trying to achieve in life, whatever it is, and then use those emotions. So I'm always trying to put people into a real feeling, and then have the feeling create the expression, rather than just saying smile, because that's going to be fake.
Wow.
So it's knowing what the person's about, what they're trying to achieve with the image, and then trying to bring out those feelings that will help get that across. So it really does come from what people are feeling, rather than just trying to, tell people what to do with their face.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's a good, I think, another great piece of secret sauce that we've dumped on our viewers. Quick follow-up question to that: so as a marketing business owner, I'd be more approachable, most likely, right? In a headshot for me.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely, you want to look like an expert who knows what they're doing. So that's where the confidence is important. But also, you want to be approachable, right? Because people are coming to you for knowledge that they don't have. And I've actually worked with you, and I've sat down and you've explained to me how Google works, and I was just baffled. I'm like, you're a wizard. So
Right,
people are coming to you because there's stuff that you know that they don't. Nobody wants to feel like an idiot, so they don't want to be dealing with somebody who looks like a dick. Basically, they want to be dealing with somebody who looks like.
Can we put that in a graphic somewhere? Don't look like a dick. That's
yeah. They want to know when they ask you a question, you're not going to make them feel foolish, So
right,
that's
exactly.
Their approachability is really important.
My gosh, Aaron, you answered all my questions flawlessly. Aaron, again, everyone, we share the same name, so if you just joined us and you're like, what's going on? Aaron Lucy is the photographer who we've been talking to today, and he gave us so much great information. That's all the questions I have and all the time we have for today. How was your tea? Have you been sipping it throughout?
It's excellent. Pinky out.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much
Thanks for having me.
for
Yeah, I appreciate
joining
it.
us. Yes, it's been fantastic. To everyone out there who is watching, remember that Bike Shop Agency is the company who is producing and doing the technical stuff behind the scenes for Marketing Tip Tea Time. And also, if you want any sort of headshots, please reach out to Aaron Lucy at Denver Headshots. info@denverheadshots.com, I believe, is the correct email,
That's right.
You can check out his work at denverheadshots.com. You can click on his portfolio, check out his rates, check out what he's doing. He's totally worth it. You can take my word for it. And we're so happy he was here today to share so much valuable information with us. And we hope you join us for next week when we have Patrick Bradley, the Chief Revenue Officer of Tixer, which is an online ticketing platform that is making waves in the event community. So please join us next week, and please give a huge thank you and shout out to Aaron Lucy, who graciously joined us today and gave us all of his information, spilled all the secret sauce. It's all out on the table. And until next Friday at 2:22, cheers, na zdraví.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yep, thank you so much, Aaron. Have a great Friday.